Today we're painting the Avatar of Khaine. We're starting off here by priming the Avatar of Khaine, and then after that we're doing a dark flesh tone or charred brown on it, whatever you have available. We then do a white highlight on him, followed by yellow, that's called flash gitz yellow. We then use a red called Scarlet red from vallejo range to sort of, get the darker areas in, followed by a hot orange for the orange. We then do the base with Beasty brown, followed by sand beige as the highlight of him. So we then go back to doing the avatar, and here we're using dark flesh tone or charred brown again to darken the model. We then use a white ink or any white that's slightly watered down to basically get into the recesses to get a really nice lines which flow into the cracks. We then use a yellow and an orange. So the yellow we use once again flash gitz yellow, and for orange we use hot orange to go into those recesses and really start making a model all fiery and all that. So here I'm just taking my time going into all the recesses, and in this stage I've started using the red as well. So you can use any red, Mephiston red or anything like that. I noticed that I cocked up the base a little bit, so I ended up going back in with a dry brush of Longbeard Grey. After that I used a yellow glaze to sort of bring all the colours together a bit. You can use potentially any yellow that's watered down. You could use flash gitz yellow as the contrast paint, or whatever it's called, the yellow equivalent, like a bright yellow. That will do, sort of using it as like a wash really. I then noticed I ended up splattering a little bit more on the base, so I went over again with Longbeard Grey just to touch up a couple of bits and bobs. It's messy business working with different colours, so it is what it is. Over the yellow glaze I then used the red glaze. Once again you can use any alternative sort of any thin down red. After that stage I used hot orange again, and I'm just using it on the body to sort of make the body a little bit more fiery. It's got more of a fire effect to it. Over here I'm just painting all the gold bits with the Retributor armor, but you can leave that until sort of the last stage if you wanted to. I think I was a bit silly to do it there, but it is what it is. I then started sponging on Mephiston red over the over the body parts, trying not to get it on the armor or anything. After that I've used flash gitz yellow again, once again with a sponge to sort of get that fiery effect, like he's on fire. And in a minute I believe we're going to be using the sponge again, and this time we're going to bring it back down, darkening it. So you can use flesh tone or charred brown, or GW equivalent of that is rhinox hide, which is actually what I've used here because I've run out of dark flesh tone. So in order to do the blood we're using khorne red here, so a dark red or any other dark red equivalent is also fine. The next stage would be to highlight the khorne red, and here we're using the Mephiston red in order to highlight the khorne red. We can do another final highlight after this one using oh god, I think it's Evil Sun Scarlet, I think it's called. That's the GW equivalent. After that I've gone in with a sponge again using rhinox hide, and try not to get it on anywhere else bar the flames. So I'm just making the flames look a bit more like flames. Going over the white because we want to be applying yellow after that. So in order to get the yellow nice and smooth, we apply some white. And here I've used Averland Sunset to have a nice strong yellow. After that, I ended up putting the transfers on for my appropriate craft world, using micro set and micro soul as the two main components for it. Now that stuff is really good. I highly recommend it, and if you watch the first video where I was working on the aeldari, I can't praise it enough. It is the best thing for transfers. Honestly, just give it a go and you will be impressed, I promise you. It is really amazing. Now one of the transfers that I've used on there isn't quite the right transfer, so later on I'll be touching it up and using some rhinox hide to sort of cover up the bottom of it. So you know, so it's like a random unknown rune, so to speak. Now over here I've used Evil Sunz Scarlet again just to highlight the red, and after that I used a bad and black on all the leather parts to, you know, to do the model. Here we're now using Seraphim sepia on the yellow parts to sort of darken it down and to, you know, give a bit of depth to the flames. So I think that's quite an important step. I mean, you can use any other alternative ink, but Seraphim sepia is probably one of the best. Sorry, I didn't mean to call it ink, I meant a shade. I'm here using micro soul, so it's the second part of it, just to make sure the transfers conform to the surface and look a lot smoother there. After we've done that, we're then going to be moving on to using hot orange, and we're using that in all the recessed areas and we're letting it pool, so we're almost using it like a controlled shade that we're putting, you know, doing the recess washes. So we're literally using the hot orange from Game Colour, to basically create like a nice and fiery effect, like he's glowing. I moved on to the gems here, and for the gems I have used dark green as the primary colour. Now I'll be honest with you, I've gone for the green gems because I'm quite good at doing the green gems normally and any sort of green glowing effect, but today it just wasn't working out for me for some reason. It is what it is. I haven't seen many avatars with green gems, so I thought I'd do something different. I'm still not sure if I'm happy with the result of it, but I mean, at this stage it's sort of too late to go back. So after we've done that, we're using a pale green sort of to highlight the gems up a little bit, and I struggled with the airbrush there a little bit. It's getting blocked up a bit. Yep, so pale green there. And after we've used pale green, we're going to be doing a third highlight, or second highlight I guess, which is going to be Escorpena green from the Vallejo range. You can use any other alternative, so I suppose an alternative would be moot green from GW. And after we've done Escorpena green, we're going to be using light livery green to, you know, do sort of final highlight of it. That's got more of a yellow tinge to it, so it really starts to make it, you know, glow quite nicely. Yeah, here we're using it now. I suppose if I wanted to take it even further, which I do sometimes do, which is mix a little bit of white, and it doesn't really matter what white you use, with light livery green. After we've done that, we're going to be using Reikland Flesh shade on all the parts around the gem. So we're trying not to get it on the gem, but rather on the gold part there, to give it a bit more depth. So basically it looks a lot more 3D. Now here I'm using the large brush, but you should really be using the medium or a small brush, but my tools are a little bit limited at the moment, so I just wanted to show that it is possible to use a bigger brush, and you can just go for gold with it as long as you've got most of the paint off. I am using Flash Gitz yellow here, sort of mainly on the flames. I've obviously used it on the sword as well. and I've used it on a couple of armor parts. So once again, gives it a bit of a nice glow to the whole thing. So here I'm just going back over with a white. In this instance I've used Elven Grey, and I'm just doing the little dots on the right upper corner of each gem. Obviously once again to try and make them look a little bit better and less flat, I guess. The gems were alright. I mean, if you're looking to do the green, then that's how it looks, but you can obviously do any colour that you want. Still not sure if I should have gone perhaps for red gems and just kept it as more of a fiery theme, but it is what it is. I mean, there's no, like I said, there's no going back really. Once again using a sponge here, using Stormhose Silver on not all the armor parts, but on just a couple of areas which I thought, well, you know, there'd be less hot, so I guess a bit more actual metal would be showing through there. So this is the final result that we have. Completed the Avatar of Khaine in one day, and I think it's a really nice and cool way to be able to do the model. I am going to go back and do a lot more work on this. However, at the moment I think it looks fine and it's tabletop ready, so that's what I would recommend that you do. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.